What's up, Facebook? Here we are, the WGR Live. I'm doing a night edition because I just wanted to try it out. I'm going to have an awesome feller that I met, Matt Bell, on tonight. And we're going to be talking about how he went from $30,000 a year to $3 million a year. Matt, I'm going to pop you on camera right now. If you guys haven't already joined my free private Facebook group, I'll share the link in the comments below, but it's the WGR Academy. We've got some cool stuff launching in there. We've got a free 28-day prospecting program that's launching next week if you want to be involved with that. Matt, how you doing, my friend?
Doing great, Colton. How are you, man?
Oh my gosh, I love my life, and I was just telling these guys how much you love your life and how stoked you are to get going on this. Okay, so do me a quick favor, Matt. Every time I have someone come on, I ask the audience to share this stream to other people. Okay, so just say, hey guys, share the stream now.
Hey guys, share this stream right now.
Right now. One of the things I love about Matt is he's always freaking smiling. Look at that smile, guys. And if you know my new mission is to breathe in love and give it back with a smile. So he's a great example of that. For those of you guys that are hopping in, we know that 90% of you are going to watch the replay. So this is for live and replayers. Drop an L in the comments if you're watching live. Drop an R if you're watching the record. And if you haven't already turned on the notifications for all my live streams, do it right now. It's like right here in the bottom some way. So Matt, in the first 90 seconds, I know that's not much time, but it's going to launch our conversation. Give your background of going from $30,000 to $3 million in revenue as working for a company. This wasn't even your own business, which blows my mind. So give us the breakdown here, my man.
Yeah, I think it's a great question. And in 90 seconds, it plays like this. I knew from what I had when I was growing up that I was surrounded by people that loved me, but they didn't have enough resources to do all the things that we wanted to do as a family. Something about that experience with my mom having to say no told me that I never wanted to have to say no. What I didn't know at that time.
You froze on me, Matt. Are you there? Hold on. Let's see if we've got some issues. Frozen. Hold up. Matt, hold on. Here we go. I'm going to add you back on. Remember, this is Matt's first live stream. Be patient, guys. Give me some reactions. There he is. He's back. You were frozen for a second.
Yeah. So anyways, I'm still in the 90-second window.
Yep.
I learned the skills that it took to always find a way to make more money. What I learned was the most effective way to always make more money was to find out what people wanted and then to ask questions about it, what it looked like for them, and then to always over deliver what they actually asked for. And so you might hear that called massive value. You might hear it called being able to ask intelligently. But whatever you've had it called, I can tell you that what I've learned about being able to ask questions and what I've learned about being able to add value are completely different than what they were when I started off making $30,000 a year. When I was able to bring in $3 million in a single year in a job, like Colton said, not having my own company, I had really answered some questions to myself about what it takes to add value. So I'm excited about the opportunity to share that tonight. I don't know how far we're going to go, Colton. I love the questions that you've got, and I love the questions from the folks that follow you. I watch a lot of your live streams. I mean, I love your subject matter experts. I love to get questions. I love to ask questions. So let's do it.
Cool. So just one of the rules about the WGR Live is I get to ask whatever the fuck I want. So just strap in because that's where we're going, right? One of the curious cases that I thought is when we hopped on this, before we were on kind of the messenger chatting on the phone, right? You said before you had told me when I first met you and maybe a couple people in your family, you'd really never told anyone about your financial success. I'd be curious on what kept you from sharing that information and why are you deciding to talking so openly with me about it on live stream with people you don't even know?
Yeah, that's great. So the reason that I never really made a big deal about it is that I always felt like part of my success and part of the way that I went about adding value was in doing it in a way that was low key. Basically, I'd much rather be making things happen from the shadows. I'm an upfront kind of guy. I lead by example. But the truth to adding value is when you can scale that value across as many beautiful people as possible. The way to add massive value is to get that value, to have the spirit of wanting to add value across many different people, as many as you can be surrounded by. And then you can hit the types of scale, then you can hit the types of impacts with people and what they can do for their family and what they can choose for their careers. All these things are what it means to add massive value. I started off solo. I was riding my own horse thinking that this is what it was going to be. And, you know, there's a lot of limitations to that. I've never been through any managerial training. I've never been through, you know, any kind of business school per se. I've never been to any business school. I don't know why I said per se. But the fact of the matter is that I learned that people want to succeed. I want to succeed. I'd rather be with people that want to succeed and have that. I'd rather be surrounded with people who want to succeed and that can succeed and that learn how to say, here's what I need in order to succeed. Because what I'm expert at, what I learned that I'm absolutely expert at is I smash obstacles. I remove obstacles. So if I'm an expert at removing obstacles, then the only question that matters most to me is, where is the next obstacle?
Interesting, right? What was your primary question, if you don't mind me asking, from Dating with Destiny?
My primary question. This is actually a great question, and you know, we're having a real intimate conversation tonight. My primary question was, and by the way, Colton is talking about something that we both went through in the last 3 weeks. We went to a Tony Robbins event, Date with Destiny. For me, it was life-changing. I used to look a lot older. Look how young I look right now. This has been amazing. But the primary question is something that you go around asking yourself consciously or subconsciously every single day, sometimes multiple times a day, sometimes more times than you even realize. Yeah. My primary question used to be, what can I do to avoid being hurt?
Ooh, that's interesting.
What can I do to avoid being hurt? And here's what I learned that primary question did for me in my life. One of the things that I learned to do was to find a way to immediately and deeply connect with you right now. And the way that I did that was I learned what people wanted, what people needed. And I don't mean it in a surface layer level perspective. I meant that, you know, what do people need in order to feel like they like me? And, and I'm just, this is just straight. Because if I could get you to like me really quickly, then I could immediately move you away from the potential threat of hurting me.
Yeah.
And now we can be friends. And as I got older, what I learned was not only could I take you off the threat list, but I could also tell you and show you that I really love you. And that was something that, you know, I would do by being able to remember certain things about you, or being able to ask you questions that you hadn't been asked before. You know, I really love to learn from people. Every single person that I have ever met, every person that I will meet has the potential to change my life. And I'm so grateful for that. And all I need to do is really tune in and ask you questions that will allow you to open up. Like he just asked me. He just said, hey, what was your primary question? It may sound like something that I already told you we know, we talk like, that's our lingo, but he asked it. And you know what? I shared it with you.
Awesome, man. So this is checking with you guys watching on the stream, whether you're live or recorded. Where are you guys from? Post in the comments below. We'd love to know if you're here in the United States, North America, and our guest tonight, Matt's from Denver. So let's give a thumbs up for Denver. Hey, here's a quick question. I know this is completely off topic, but how has legalized marijuana shifted Denver? Has it made a difference? Has it helped? Has it hurt? I'm curious because we don't have that here.
Yeah, you know, I wouldn't be the best person to tell you what the score is as far as helping or hurting. What I have seen is it's created a brand new economy. It's created a brand new set of skills, needed skills. It's put people into a whole different creative mindset. You know, all this stuff's going on with legalized marijuana, not just in the state of Colorado, but in other states around the country.
Wait. So is the creative mindset from smoking the pot or from creating business opportunities? I'm confused on what's the creative mindset.
The observations that I'm making are from creating business opportunities. Okay. And here's one of the big reasons why. Guess what, folks? And if you're going to participate in that economy in the state of Colorado, it's cash money. Everything that these folks are doing are dealing with cash money. There is no bank support. There is no MasterCard, Visa. I mean, so part of the, the impact is much focus on cash handling. But, I'm not in that industry, and it's not something that I have a lot of intimate knowledge about, but I am glad that Colorado is a part of the United States that chose to do that, the citizens of this state, and that we still have states' rights and things like that really matter.
Yeah, I'm glad that you have expressed that from being in Colorado. I totally support it. I'm in Utah, and every state around us, it's either medical or recreational legal, and it's flooding in left and right, and yet we're not capitalizing on the opportunity. That drives me nuts, an opportunity. You guys watching, I know this is kind of off topic, but yes in the comments if medical or recreational marijuana should be legal, or no if it should not be. So let's get back to the value creation part, right? So let's stem with, first of all, you've got the science of success figured out. How do you create what you want? What we're talking about is results. We're talking about outcome, and we're understanding what's the purpose that drives that. What are the specific action items that move us that direction? So what about the fulfillment side though? Like, where does that fit in? I mean, $3 million is cool, but are you happy? Are you stoked? Are you alive? And what drives that aliveness?
Yeah, that's a great perspective, because the first thing that starts with me, and that has to be kind of in this sequence, is what is my outcome? What am I'm trying to do? And you know what? If they had told me 20 years ago, and yes, I've been around that long, a little longer than that actually. And they said, hey, guess what, Matt? Congratulations, we just pulled your name out of the hat, and winner, chicken dinner. All you have to do right now is write down what you want your life to be like. You can write down, how much money you want. You can write down all these things and just put it in this envelope, and boom, done. Wow. Would I have completely undershot? I would have undershot. I mean, I should be thinking this way. The problem is 10, 20 years ago, last month, what I thought was this is actually this. Because I don't know everything. In fact, I know very little. And let me answer this question this way. I knew what my outcome was. I was going to make money. Not only that, I was going to make more money this year than I did last year. And I did that for, something like 18 consecutive years. And when I said I was going to make money more this year than last year, it wasn't going to come down to a KPMG audit where they were going to say, oh, look at that, you did it 17 cents more. Congratulations. for me, it was always going to be 5 digits. It was always going to be at least 5 digits more than last year. That's the standard that I set for myself. And what I found out is that making 5 digits more than last year is not hard to do at all. And the other thing I found out was that at some point, money isn't fulfilling. Now, goodness gracious, if I haven't heard that cliche before, and if you don't have it, you sure want it. And if you have it, you understand why you wanted it. And if you have it, you understand why you want more of it. And let me say, I understand why I want more of it. And the reason that I want more of, resources or money is so that I can make decisions about how I spend my time. And so I can make decisions about how many people and how I'm going to impact others, how I'm going to share in what I've learned with others and have time to do that. But what I learned about fulfillment was I'm so grateful that I had the opportunities that I did with the people that I had it with that allowed me to, experiment. I've been experimenting for a long time about how to add value. I've been experimenting for a long time about how to ask outstanding questions. But what I really learned was fulfillment was sleeping in my own bed. Not worrying about, if Marriott was going to come to my funeral or if United was going to fly the 5 plane, over my funeral, because they're not. The number one thing that I love to do is be at home. And I love to travel. I love to go to places for work. I love to that, but I really want my first, gift of having resources to be choice about where I spend my evenings. And I mean it literally, like I love to sleep in my own bed. I got a kick-ass bed. It's kick-ass every single night. When I'm in that bed, man, I'm like, oh shit, this bed rocks. So, and that's not the same when I'm in a different bed every night or a different bed each week or whatever. So, fulfillment comes from being able to spend time with people that I love.
So how many of you guys want your bed to be rocking every single night? Put a yes in the comments. We had one of the questions. Now, do you know this fine young lady here? I might say it wrong. Rachel or Rochelle Bell? Does Rachel or Rochelle ring a bell for you, Mr. Matt Bell?
I got a Rachel Bell in my life. She's my daughter. If this is the Rachel Bell,
I'm guessing
yeah.
it is. She asked, "What is your morning routine to create an amazing life?"
Well, it's changed a lot over the years. It's been, to create an amazing life, I've literally rolled out of bed and, jumped in the car. I have rolled out of bed and commuted for an hour with no radio on. I've learned over time that I like to do a little bit of preparation, but, really until the last 5 years, I honestly was somebody who planned it down to the last second. I was always kind of a just-in-time, generally mostly slightly late type of person. And then I started building some time for myself. But what I found is that I'm never motivated to build time for myself unless I'm absolutely excited about swinging my legs out of bed in the morning. If I'm hitting the snooze button, my life is fucked up. I'll just tell you that right now. And I have hit the snooze button for years. I've hit the snooze button, and I've had times where I'm waking up hours before the alarm clock is going off, and it's not because I'm worried about something. It's because I'm just full of energy and I'm so excited. So my morning routine presently is I wake up, I roll into the kitchen, I put some coconut oil in my mouth. I do oil pulling for good mouth and gum health. I go immediately into my hot tub. I go into my hot tub and I pray and I meditate. I spend a lot of time just expressing gratitude for my life, for being alive, for the people in my life, for having the feelings that I have, for being able to feel. I go through different lists all the time about what I'm grateful for and who I'm grateful for. And for the people that I'm having difficulties with or that I'm upset with, I put some energy towards them. I want them to be happy. And when I do that, I become happier. So from there, I finish up the oil pulling, which, it includes spitting the oil out and taking care of your mouth. And then I move into my office and I do priming. Priming is a technique that Tony Robbins introduced me to. And it's a combination of doing some things to oxygenate your body, which wakes everything up. And then you go through a guided meditation where you reflect on things that you're grateful for, and you actually go into the imagery of being there when you're experiencing these things. Very powerful. And then you go into thinking about those and myself that I'd like to heal. What about me that I'd like to heal? And then you think about the 3 things that you're really excited about doing, and you see yourself doing those things. And presently, the 3 things that I've been focused on a lot is one is getting a new business started. The second one is finishing my first 100-mile event. I'm going to run 100 miles before May of 2019. It sounds like a long time away, but believe me, I need all the time I can get to get ready. And I see myself finishing that, crossing that finish line. And then the third thing that I'm really focused on are kind of a combination of what I would call daily to-dos, and generally they're the ones that I have the most friction with, and I want to see myself finishing those. And what I'm painting for you is an ideal morning for me. From there, I move into starting my daily nutrition. I start every day with bulletproof coffee, and that usually takes me till noon. So my most productive hours of the day are from 0 to +5. 5 hours into the day, I am on fire. 5 hours into the day, I've got so much creativity going on. And for me, that is something that I really appreciate.
So we got the question, what the hell is oil pulling? What is this? What is this oil swigging, swashing thing you're doing?
Yeah, man. Oil pulling, Google it. Basically it's a way of using coconut oil to help sanitize and clean your mouth. It really is awesome to help reduce plaque buildup. It's awesome for teeth whitening. It's not like putting Colgate strips on you or anything like that, or getting all hosed up. It's just natural. Really helps with the gums. In my life, when I'm not doing well, I have a tendency to not take care of my body. I have a tendency to put off things that I should be doing. And when I put off things like my mouth, I'm telling you, it's hard to get that thing rolling again. I mean, for me, not taking care of my mouth has provided years of things that I've had felt shame about and blah, 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 blah. So, today it's something that I'm really
Stoked
enjoying
about.
taking care of.
So
Yeah.
one of the things that I've observed from almost every, not only successful person, right? Because one of the purposes of this podcast and my live streams is to learn from amazing people living ultimate lives, right? So there's people that are financially successful. That's one thing. And they have specific rules that they follow, things that they apply. But those that are also fulfilled, they all have one thing in common is they wake up and they have prayer, meditation, and full of gratitude in their morning in some way, somehow. So if you guys are watching this, take that as a clue to add it into your life. We had a question here, and this is a great question. How many of you guys have noticed, besides Matt's amazing smile and fantastic teeth, that he is just full of enthusiasm? So the question comes from Tamara Belcher. How do you sustain your enthusiasm throughout the day?
Great question. Great question. And I may know that person who's asking that question. So, you know, I'm able to sustain that because I'm excited about what I'm doing. I'm grateful to be alive. Honestly, everything is when I have my shit together. And by that, I mean, when I know what my purpose is, I know what my outcome is. When I'm out of self and I'm into some spirit of service. By the way, producing money and making money is also, you know, for me, I've got it connected to me so that it's a way that I can actually be of service. Yes, I get some of the byproducts. I get the benefits of producing money. Thank God, I'm actually was created to produce, and I'm finding my true self when I'm actually being productive. But I love being able to stay at a high energy level. I love being able to bring other people to a higher energy level. I love to be around people. Matter of fact, here's a great story for you guys. I'm here with you tonight as a gift from Colton, and I'm really grateful for that gift. But I will tell you that I met Colton without ever saying a word. I was just thinking about this earlier today. I met Colton from an exchange of energy. That's what actually happens. What the hell does that mean? Holy shit. Well, we're in this auditorium with 4,500 people who were pretty motivated and excited. I mean, they were pretty motivated about what was going on. Yet, in my proximity, there was a guy who was really fucking motivated. I mean, he had some moves and he was doing shit and he was jumping really high. By the way, you know, jumping really high. People are standing on chairs and then jumping even higher. And so, you know, I was attracted to that because I was pretty motivated also. I am pretty motivated right now. I'm motivated to be alive. I'm motivated to have the knowledge that I've got. I'm motivated to be, you know, in a situation where I might be able to meet some people through this process right now and add value and to learn more. But I don't know what the answer is. I just love being excited. I love being grateful. I love getting people riled up. I'm a leader.
So I think, and I love that. I appreciate that you observed and took the time to share that story with my energy there, because it was amazing, the whole experience. But you know what? That maximum energy, you know, I don't know if you noticed this. The last night, you know, when everyone was going crazy around the stage, that was the one night that I was literally just sitting there like this. I wasn't even moving. I wasn't jumping. Because what I had learned from me is my primary question was, where am I stuck, or where's this stuck? And which has allowed me to find the obstacle or find the problem and solve it. But everything's a fucking problem in my life, right? So I'm always solving problems, and I was never just relaxing and enjoying the ride. Like, that's one of the things I've observed in the last 18 months. So imagine that amount of energy, that amount of intensity that I was bringing there. And I bring that home to my wife and daughters all the time. Sometimes it freaks them the hell out, right? So for me, the understanding was, I love to deliver love. However, delivering it with that much intensity isn't always the best way to do it. I got to come with warmth and compassion. You see what I'm saying? So I appreciate you sharing that, because it's amazing how everyone's experience is grace for them in their perception. It was for me, right? Here's something curious I've noticed and I've observed from our conversation is you'll go to tell something and you say, you something, blah, blah, blah. But you say, well, let me switch that. My experience, that's an amazing observation I've had from you. Why do you do that? What is that self-correction there? Why do you speak from the place of I versus the place of you?
You know, I appreciate your observation, and it's something that it's a muscle that I'm always working on, because the tendency that I have is to imagine that I could connect with more people if I tried to use language that would make us collective, or that I would know really I don't know anything about what someone has gone through. I can't even see, I can't even imagine what it is that someone had, not because it's always bad, not because it's always amazing, just simply because it's theirs. It's their very personal experience. It's what makes everybody so unique. What I bring to the table is what I've experienced. And I'm grateful that, I can share that, and I can share from a perspective where I don't need to worry about being right. I'm not in the business anymore of trying to convince others. I am in the business of wanting to relate and grow deeply with others. And many times that means that I may not have experiences or the perspective or the ability to see the way someone else sees as I started. But if I wait and I just listen and I accept, then I'm going to learn something that's completely different. It won't mean that I have to change. It won't mean that I have to, now include. I was thinking of the greens. I love the greens. Just in general, I think that the only thing I have, Colton, is my experience. That's it.
One of the things that I've observed in my experience is that I'm speaking from my place of experience. You don't have to believe a word I say. In fact, I would suggest you don't believe a word I say, because I might be kind of fucked up myself, right? But these are my experiences. Pick what resonates with you. What's that voice that's communicating with you? And I love that you did. To me, that's been a huge shift in my life, is to speak from my experience, from my hallucination. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know. You know what I mean? So Let's talk about that science of achievement, the outcome that someone wants, and where they're at, and what allows them to close the gap. Whether it's money, whether it's health, whether it's relationships, whether it's whatever it is. How does someone create that ultimate life?
It's going to be really unique, but here's what's awesome. People before me figured out that there is a system. There's a framework. There's not a prescription. There is a generalization that's shared, by which, for me, I've learned that there's connectedness between the mind, which serves a really important purpose, the mind, which is totally geared to survive, so the cognitive, and then there's the survival, and then there's the heart, which, I used to always think that the heart was just something that, was there to power the whole body, which, that still hasn't changed. It sure as shit does that. But, recently I'm learning that it might actually have another role, because I had a heart that was actually doing its job long before I had a brain that was, first of all, trying to make sure that I was, fleeing or fighting. And then it was well before I had a brain that was thinking, wow, I'm so fucking smart that I can figure this out. And so, from the cognitive to the primal, or the croc brain, to the heart, to the soul, I'm actually a part of something that's much bigger than me. I'm also not, I've resigned from this debating committee too, but I know I'm not alone. I know I'm not alone, and I know I'm, that nothing in my life happens by accident. I had a great conversation with someone the other day, and this goes back into, this gets to where we're going. There are no coincidences in my life. And what I don't understand or have any capacity to fully appreciate is what the purpose or the meaning is of every single, thing. And I don't need to worry about what the 1,000 things were today that happened. And is there something about the way that the Starbucks coffee came across the thing? I don't have to worry about that. But in the meaningful things where there's, there's an impact. Wow, like that was really interesting. I was just thinking about blankety blank, and then they called me. Or, I was having this issue with what kind of car I was going to buy, and then I heard somebody talking about the exact car that, whatever they are. Or I was really struggling in my life trying to figure out what I was going to do or be when I grew up. And then suddenly someone said, fuck that, you don't have to figure it out today, just be. And those are the kinds of things that I don't think they're coincidence, but here's what's really cool. So I was talking to this person, and I was thinking about, I was listening to her, and I was thinking about all of us being just beams of light, just beams of light. But then something happens, and I may get refracted, I may get reflected, I may get, just some other, I may be absorbed, I may be enriched, but something happens. I get into a different direction. And then, what happens because of that? Now I'm in this line of intersection. And they were telling me about the word coincidence. and the relationship of the root of and the origin of that word to the actual mathematical origin of cosine. And that's when two lines come together. And, you know, I wish I knew more about how to explain that, and I don't at this time. But I think, you know, what I know is that I had to be driven to do something. I had to know what I wanted my outcome to be. I didn't know what the outcome was. It was funny because I thought I wanted to make more money. I honestly have gone through most of my life with that being my outcome. I want to make more money. I've met a lot of people who say things differently than I do. And what I've heard is, I want to be a millionaire, or I want to make $1 million before I'm X age, or you know, I want to make 6 figures, or you know, I want to have.
Hold on, time out. How many of you guys watching live or recorded can resonate with what he's saying? How many of you want to hit that $1 million mark, or make more money, or create that passive residual income, or hit that next level? Just think about that. Put a yes in the comments if you can get that. Sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
No, I love it, and that's great, because if you've had that question, and if you wanted those things, then I have a question for you. What is the most brand new thing you've ever done in the last 30 days that was going to bring you closer to that result? Because let me tell you more about my experience. My experience was, I've gone through long periods of time where I never adjusted or changed my approach. I found something that worked, and I would run that fucking play every day. And you know what? I got the results of doing that. I ran that play until suddenly I wasn't excited about running that play, or I was running the play sloppily. You know, it wasn't working for me the same way it was, or people around me knew I was running a play, you know, and so they started reacting differently to me, and I would always have to rethink it. And the reason that I've been really effective in rethinking it is because I'm possessed with trying to ask outstanding questions. I think it's the key. I think if you can learn how to ask outstanding questions and you test them, ask them. I ask people I don't even know. I ask questions. I love to ask questions. I love to ask questions and see if somebody will participate. Not because I'm a smart ass, which I can be, and I have a tendency to be, but just because I never know what the right answer is going to be. So know your outcome, change your approach. And if it's true, if Colton asked the question, you know, how many people want those things, then my question is, what have you done differently in the last 30 days? And it's not a pass-fail question. It's a question for you to start thinking, you know, if I was to do one thing differently, everybody says, if I was going to do one thing differently today, what would that be? And if I did, by the way, here's a secret. If you do one thing differently for 28 days, or no, it could be 15 days, or maybe it's only 7 days, or maybe it's just a 4-hour work week. Fuck, I don't know. But if you do it a lot, it'll be a habit. And oh shit, that's all I have to do is make it a habit. Well, for me, that didn't work. For me, I had to find something that I was interested in, and I had to find something that I was excited and I enjoyed doing, and I love to learn. I get all wrapped around the axle when I think about I've got to get these new skills, I got to have this new ability. I just love to learn. And what I get so stimulated from learning, I never know what I'm going to learn today. And I guess going back to the point, what have you learned in the last 30 days that you're certain right now that you could write down exactly that you know that this is going to bring you closer to what your goal is? If that's 6 figures, or if it's making $1 million. And let me share my number one goal for 2018 with you, if you don't mind, Colton.
Go for it.
I'm going to seek out the best available experts to me in all of the areas that I have in my 2018 plan that are aligned with my mission. And I make that statement and I distinguish it that way. The best available experts to me. I want to connect face to face. I want to connect in a live stream. I want to talk to people. I want to ask questions. I want to learn. I want to find out what I could do today to add value to them. Because I know that if I can ask great questions, I will learn what I can do to add value. And then I'm given the opportunity to use the number one gift that I think means the most. And that's my gift and my choice, my free will. See, when you're good at asking questions, you can get the answers to the questions. Mm-hmm. But what you do with that answer really defines how that relationship's going to go from there. And for example, if I was to ask somebody I wanted to be in a relationship with or was in a relationship with, you know, what would be what could I do to make our relationship better? And I sat there with my mouth shut and I listened to the answer, then I have a choice to use my free will. And I can give you the cliff notes. I highly suggest you take some fucking form of action when you're given that answer. And it's okay. It's okay to mess it up. It's about doing, not thinking. So I really think it's important to ask questions and then try to add all the value you can. People would rather see you try. Yeah.
I want to point this out, guys. One of the things that he talked about is not just asking any question, outstanding questions.
Yeah.
If the results in our life, we want them to be extraordinary. If we want them to be outstanding, it starts with outstanding questions. Get over this fucking surface bullshit, the facade fake life you see all over social media. Let's get to the reality of this. What's really going on deep so you can get the idea, hear the voice, and act on that. That's what you're talking about, right? Let's act on the reality, the real stuff, the meat, the juice, not this bullshit.
Yeah, it's the classic case. Does anybody have any questions? How many of you have been in a room where where actually that question's asked? Hey, anybody have any questions? And then there's somebody who has a fucking question, and they raise their hand, and they're like, yeah, I just wanted to know, how's this going to affect our team? And then you might have had a thought like I have. Damn, that's a damn good question. I wish that I had asked that question. I was thinking about that question, but I didn't ask that question. Well, here's another question that I might have, and then not ask it, or ask it and then fuck it all up. I mean, blah, 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 and not even be able to get the question out. And you're like, oh my God, I cannot believe I fucking tried to ask that question in front of all these people. I am never going to ask another question ever again. I am never going to go through that again. Here's the deal. Asking great questions is important. Asking outstanding questions takes practice. And the only way you can get to an outstanding question is to ask a great question, to ask an excellent question, to ask a shitty question. And you can see that to get to outstanding, hey, you might be blessed. You might be able to come up with, you might be able to hit one right out of the park in terms of your very first question be the most outstanding question. And someone to say, that's the most outstanding question I've ever been asked, and then you just fucking retire right there. Just don't ever ask another question, because I've asked a lot of bad questions in order to learn how to ask great ones, and then to even ask a lot of great questions, and then to learn how to ask outstanding questions. By the way, outstanding's in the eye of the beholder. I can let you know that for me, if I'm not learning something from the result of asking a question, then I didn't ask a great question. If I don't see someone absolutely responding in a way where I can, and by the way, you can tell when you ask an outstanding question of somebody, whether they're pissed off about your question or whether they're very excited about your question, you can tell when you ask an outstanding question. For example, let me just try this. Colton, what are you most often surprised about that people don't ask you?
Ooh, that's a great question. You know what?
An outstanding question. Did you see what he did? Did he say, ooh, I got him to move his whole body just by asking a question. And then he started to try to buy some time because he knows it's a really outstanding question.
It is a great question. What blows my mind is people look at my success and people are always wanting to know, where do I make that next smart investment, or where do I put my money, or where do I do this? That's the wrong fucking question. That's the wrong answer to the wrong question. The right question is how do I manage my cash flow? How do I get fulfillment? How do I stop looking on the outside and start going to the inside to really generate the results that I want in my life? And that would be the question that I wish more people would ask me, is how do you go inside versus all the outside flash?
Yeah, who do you have to be? Who do you have to be to create this outside life? What? And by the way, I don't know the answer to that. It's a work in progress. Who I had to be last year is not the person that I need to be today. And that's why I have this love of learning. That's why I have this love of being able to ask better questions. That's why I have this love of being able to know that I only have to do a certain few things. Once you learn the answer to an outstanding question, you'll be surprised. No one's going to tell you need to go fucking split atoms and create a nuclear fusion. They're not going to tell you that. They're going to say something like, well, it'd be great if you take the trash out. Or they're going to say, or they're going to say, well, here's the thing. We don't have anywhere for you to go or grow. You kind of capped out. You've maxed it out. I don't have anything for you. Those are great answers. Never be afraid of an answer. The only thing that can possibly happen from getting an answer is that it just may not be what you like, but oh my God, how empowering will it be to have that information?
Yeah. Without
It isn't about
pain,
being happy.
without the pain, you can't have the shift. You can't have the breakthrough. Without the discontent, you can't say, okay, I got to stop running the same play over and over again, and I got to learn a new play. Because guess what? What was working for marketing in 2005 sure as fucking happening in 2018, guys. I can promise you that. So you got to stop running that same play. I'll give you an example. I looked at my return on my investment. We had a 55 times return on our investment with our referral-based business, our real estate sales business. And then we had our second degree, which is called People Farm, which is previous years has been explosive. This year, we only had a 5.5 or 6 times return on our investment. And so what we said, what are we doing? How are we marketing those people? And we looked at the cost of direct mail, and we realized that people weren't really looking at that as much anymore, even though it used to be a thing in the past. So then we said, well, how can we be in front of their eyeballs more often digitally? Even though we've done awesome at it, let's reduce that part of our expense and let's increase the expense over here to get in front of those faces, right? So it's being able to identify where it is that you're getting that sticking point. You know what's interesting is I have a couple questions for you that are stemming from this. When I was 2.5, the decision I made, we went through this exercise, I made the decision that life wasn't fun, life was painful, and life isn't safe, right? That was the decision I made. And then when I was 5 years old, I had another incident where I decided I wasn't good enough for my parents. And then a little bit further on in my life, I made the decision that I had to work twice as hard to be just as good as everyone else. Like, these are the beliefs that I started stacking on. And I was like fucking pissed that these were my decisions I had made at one point. But then I realized, wait a second, because of those decisions, because of that experience, holy fuck, I've created an amazing business, an amazing outcome, amazing relationships in my life. But guess what? Now it's time to maybe shift those decisions and those values that drive that operating system a little bit more, right? So here's my question to you. What or maybe still is, your home-based set of emotions that you go to when things aren't happening exactly how you want them to be?
Mine is absolutely no hesitation, gratitude. Boom, done. If I'm grateful, everything is absolutely good to go, because I start with being grateful to be alive. Literally, I woke up this morning. I'm still alive. And what time is it? I don't know where the hell you are, but where I am, it's 7:50 p.m. I have actually made it a good almost 20 hours through this day, which, by the way, what the fuck's a day? I don't know. But since, I'm alive, and I'm grateful because, I'm going to learn something. I'm going to have a chance to be a husband. I'm going to have a chance to be a father. I'm going to have a chance to be a friend. I'm going to have a chance to learn something about ways that I can impact others. I'm going to learn that what I thought I wanted isn't. It's actually something different. Who knows? But it all starts with, for me, my emotional home is gratitude. How about you? What's yours?
Was it always gratitude? Or did you
No.
have to make a conscious change? And so for you guys, for me, my old home space was impatience, irritation, and frustration, right? Because I wanted to run 1,000,000 miles an hour, and when people weren't keeping up, I was like, what the fuck are you doing, you lazy bastard? I was pissed. I became angry, right? What I realized, though, is that was resistance. When I created that resistance, I couldn't perform at my optimal level. I couldn't deliver for my real estate business, for my online business, for my family, for myself. I didn't have the peace, the joy, the enthusiasm, the tranquility. How many of you guys can resonate with that? Where's it showing up in your life? So I shifted it to appreciation, and really I seek to go to peace and tranquility. Like, that's the place that once I feel resistance, boom, what do I got to stop doing and go get to that space immediately? Otherwise, it's miserable. Who gives a shit if I'm succeeding financially, if I'm hating every step of the way?
Yep.
So that's
and
me.
The best way to know who gives a shit is to go through that and to live that and find out, wow, this is not what I thought it was going to be. Going back to that example, if they told me, hey, here's your magic piece of paper, write down anything you want, I would have messed it up. I had no idea that money wasn't it. I had no idea that money was. I had no idea that, what I really wanted to do is find out how to align my purpose, my abilities with the opportunity to help other people. I had no idea that's where I was going to end up. In fact, I didn't even know what money was. I didn't even know what the value of money, what money could do. When I had no money, I didn't know what you could do with it. I knew, that I might be able to go on a trip for the weekend, which, I remember being told, no, I can't do that. It wasn't for lack of love. It was for lack of resources. But it's, I'm grateful. That's my emotional home. My old emotional home.
How did you shift it? Oh, go ahead. Finish that. What was your old one?
Yeah. My old emotional home was,
You can't even remember it. It was so long ago.
no, it was that I didn't have enough. What's missing, and
So was that anxiety in a sort?
it wasn't. Yeah, it had to have been, because it's an anxious question, But the what's missing, I kind of tried to fill it first. Here's the interesting thing. I love the way you kind of set this up. Something happened at 2.5. Something happened at 5. Something happened for me at 3. It was really positive, but I blanked it out because something happened to me at 11. And when I say something happened to me, I had a bad experience at 11 that I thought was the life defining. Oh my God, part of my story is that, this happened to me. And the bottom line is, from that, what happened to me, I decided, number one, I was going to never do that to anybody else. I was never going to do that to anybody. I mean, literally, I could go like this for a half hour. I will never do that to anybody. I will never do that to anybody. And the next thing that came out of that was,
talk about a powerful incantation, getting your whole body into it and emotion.
Man,
Of course, you drove that.
I'm telling you right now that I wasn't doing that literally like that physically. I was having that type of absolute emotional certainty that this will never fucking happen again. This will never happen again. I will never do this, and yeah, I still have that tapped in. And that's what has been driving me to make sure that I would not be hurt. Remember, my old primary question was, what can I do to avoid being hurt? What I decided I could do to avoid being hurt was to make sure people like me. So I would connect with them as quickly as possible. I would connect with them as deeply as possible. And then I would be able to say, okay, you're not going to be hurt. But guess what else happened? One of the ways that I decided I was going to love other people and my family first, because that was never going to happen. I was never going to get divorced. That's the subject. I'm never going to get divorced. I didn't even know if I'd ever be married. I didn't know if I'd ever have any kids. But I'm telling you one thing, I will never get divorced. That was not going to happen. And so that I used that and that power to love. And one of the ways that I unconsciously decided that I would be able to show love was making money. I was so proud. This is one thing that I'm absolutely driven to help others do. If you've ever had a raise or a promotion, or you've ever had a great day, you've ever had a win and you were so proud of it, and then you got an opportunity to show it to somebody else, and you were able to show them this win, you're able to show, look at this. If you've ever had that experience, you know how it feels. And it doesn't have to be about money. It could be proud of your kid. It could be that you did something you didn't think you could do. It could be something physical. You could have run your first 5K. You could have gone, on your first 48-hour fast. It doesn't matter. When you have that feeling about doing something that you're really, really, really proud of, you're proud of. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. You know you're proud of it. Yeah, they might come at you gunning hard, and you only get to live in that for 30 seconds if you're not fucking square. But, you know what that feeling's like. I want to help people have that feeling. I want to have people experience that in their careers. I'm so excited about being able to share strategies, techniques, tools, planning, role-playing, coaching, so that people can have that opportunity to bring it home and to say, look, we are going to be able to do something. Or, guess what? We got the kids' college taken care of. Or, yeah, you know what? Go get that car you wanted. Or whatever the things are that you really want to have, and I mean have like things, because the byproduct of that, the byproduct of these techniques, the byproducts of these strategies are always going to revolve around universal things. What can I do to add massive value? What questions do I need to learn how to ask so that I understand what massive value looks like to those persons that I want to add massive value? Insert company, insert relationship, insert friends, insert self. And just be able to think about everything in my life right now is applied universally. I don't do anything today that is really, really, really narrow. It isn't that way. The world is not that way. The things that I know, the things that I do, the things that I learn, the things that I try, the things that I test, the things that I experience, they're for all of me. They are a part of what I am in this world. And so it's pretty awesome. If you look at it from a bigger picture, I used to think that I could get really good if I compartmentalized and I just drill down and I would just become really good. But then I would have all these other adjacencies that were incongruent as fuck. I mean, just you just can't help if you think that adding value, and if you want, by the way, if you want to have your own business, that's an awesome way to add value. If you want to work for some other people, that's an awesome way to add value. But if you want to make a lot of money while doing any of those things, then you have to learn how to actually help other people add value. Shitloads of value, lots of people. And then the amount of value you have and how you get the byproduct of that value, it'll take care of itself. But if I really focus on winning friends and influencing people, or I really focus on men are from Mars and women are from Venus, or I may have got that backwards. I don't know. Everybody's from some other planet.
Dude, isn't that crazy that the author of that book, the man is the feminine energy and the woman is the masculine energy in that book? That's really strange, isn't it?
Yeah. Thank God. Thank God it was that way.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people benefited from the perspective that allowed him to take. And if you don't know the backstory on that, go to the Date with Destiny. It happened in December 2018, West Palm Beach. Tony Robbins, and I don't get anything from telling you that other than the fact that I know your life's going to change, and if that fucking matters to you.
Dude, so let's just talk about that for a second. Before, I was kind of hesitant because I just invested in Master University and Business University. I think it was 17 grand. You know, that's a good chunk of change, right? When you spend that much money, you want to make sure that it isn't worth it, right? And I was all in, I was committed, but then I got to Date with Destiny, and I said, dude, I would have paid a fucking $100,000 to be here. I would have paid anything I could to get here because of the shift, because of the breakthrough, because of the awareness of the patterns. That's how powerful that event was for me. I don't know if I'm over exaggerating this, but that's my hallucination. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind that is the effect that you're going to have in your life from that. I'm the same way. I don't even worry about the fact that it took me however long it took me to get there. I don't regret the past at all. I don't want to shut the door on it. I'm telling you right now that I did it. And the rest of my life, 2 degrees, 2 millimeters, 18 millimeters, fuck, I don't know. It's changed. I've learned a different understanding of my life. And what would it take and what would I have paid for that? And what does that mean? Does that mean I go to the mailbox every day? Holy shit, look at these 6-figure checks that are just ran. No, that's not what I'm talking about. Do you remember back in the day, man, you go to the mailbox and there'd be these checks. Shit.
Yeah, now I pop up and it's my Stripe account. It's rolling in my Stripe account.
my Shopify, my Stripe account, maybe, I know, my Bitcoin account, whatever it is. But at the end of the day,
think about that. Hold on, time out. Think about that. We're measuring growth, financial achievement through some fucking digital thing that's not even real, and we're anchoring so much emotion to it. Whoa, I made a shit ton of Bitcoin, or I made a shit ton of my stock investment. Dude, and what is that? That's so fucking strange to me, isn't it?
You know what just came to my mind when you said that? And what I always try to do, I try to find equivalencies, because everybody on this stream right now knows what the fuck Bitcoin is. They have no fucking idea what Bitcoin is. They absolutely know what Bitcoin is. They have no fucking idea what the fuck Bitcoin means. They are certain. They are absolutely certain that Bitcoin is good. Well, here's the thing about Bitcoin. It's creating a lot of value for people. And the fact of the matter is, what Colton said is true. It's ethereal. There's no gold standard that it's backed by. There's no federal agency that's guaranteeing the FDIC first $100,000. There's nothing like that going on at all. And let me tell you something. If you're enamored with Bitcoin, if you think it's really fascinating that people can have this much value created instantly overnight and then have this much value erased in a 4-hour period before lunch on Friday, and then have, even more value added by the time we get to Sunday, you can have that exact same experience in your life with happiness. You can have the exact same experience. You can go from $400 worth of happiness to $20,000 worth of happiness and fulfillment. You can have all of that happen in the same ways in your life by just being able to focus on gratitude, to be able to find out what is fulfillment. By the way, fulfillment, and that it can change. Whatever fulfilled me last year is not the same thing that fulfills me this year. Whatever fulfilled me 30 years ago doesn't fulfill me today. There's a lot of things that do fulfill me still from 30 years ago. But my point is, Bitcoin's amazing, and it happens like this. And it's like, don't stand. Some of you may be right in the middle of it, And you're probably thinking, how can I take the $1 billion that I made from Bitcoin and invest it in Colton's business so that I can even make more? And I understand that.
That's a
But you
great
might be
investment,
also
by the way. Fantastic investment.
so it would be a fantastic investment. The other thing that you might be thinking is, man, I'm standing on the outside and I'm watching this. And let me ask you this: are you standing on the outside watching others be happy? Are you standing on the outside wondering, if this is your life's purpose? Or are you standing on the outside wondering, why others seem to be, experiencing life differently or better than you or not as well as you? My kind of solution to that, or the way that I think about it, is go help somebody.
Yeah.
Go, don't stop thinking about yourself. Go actually use your, I mean, most people probably on this live stream are with 2 legs and 2 arms. There may not be everybody, and I understand that can't be everybody, but go be useful. Find yourself 30 minutes a week to go be of service to somebody else who could really value it. Doesn't matter what you say. It doesn't matter what they say. Just go do something good. Go be of service. And I'm not talking about joining the Peace Corps. I used to think, man, if I had a relationship with my Creator, he'd probably want me to be a monk. And I don't want to be a monk. I'd never want to be a monk, so I won't even have a relationship with my Creator because I don't want to be a monk. It's ego and pride tells me that, I'll be a monk. He'll pick out, you, Matt, we've been waiting for you, man. Hey, go be a monk. The fact of the matter is that you don't know what'll happen when you go help other people until you go help other people. And if you can go help other people and not tell anybody else about it, your life will change. Go help someone else. Don't tell anybody about it. It will be hard. It may be hard for you. It's been hard for me. I've experienced being able to help other people and not tell anyone. I've experienced being able to help other people and just was so excited about what happened that I did tell somebody. And there's 2 wildly different experiences. Go be of service to somebody in the smallest way possible. Don't tell anybody about it. And wash, rinse, and repeat.
Love it. So real quick, I just want to appreciate Brody Flint. I don't know if you know Brody. I'm not familiar with him, but I want to appreciate him for asking this question, right? And it really stems off of that outstanding question you asked me. He asked the question, buy silver bullion, yes or no? Question mark, right? That's the question I get asked all the time. So I appreciate that question. Answer is, from my perception, my experience, buy freaking silver. It's super undervalued. But I've been buying silver for the last 20 years. I've studied for 20 years. And I'm going to follow up with that. Go join my course, Financial Freedom Nation, so you can know for yourself that, yes, it's an amazing opportunity. What I would really, really love for people to watch is, I don't want you to buy Bitcoin or silver bullion or Facebook stock just because I tell you to do it. I want you to be able to understand why it makes sense to do it, why it's a great decision for yourself, that financial confidence. Am I right or am I right?
You're right. Okay. You're right. I can tell you that being an amateur making big boy decisions is required. I couldn't be an expert first and make big boy decisions or big girl decisions or just important life decisions. I had to start making decisions. And hey, the bottom line is that not every decision I made gave me the outcome I thought I wanted or that I thought I deserved, but it absolutely, every decision I ever made gave me something that I couldn't get if I didn't make it, and that was I learned. Yeah. So doing is a big deal.
Okay, so let's shift gears real quick, because I could probably talk to you till midnight tonight, and my wife would then be upset, and I would be doing contradictory to my 2018 focus is to create my ultimate relationship, right? That's my ultimate goal for 2018, is have that. And let me just preface that is, I realized I've got a good marriage, right? But I want an outstanding marriage. And what I've become aware of is people that have good marriages is they end up having miserable fucking marriages 20, 30, 40 years down the road. They either end up divorced or they end up living with people that they can't even talk to them anymore. That resentment that people set in, right? Like I get so, and what I don't want to do is be there. Where I want to be is when I'm 95 years old, I want to be like, ooh, can't keep my hands off my wife, right? It starts right now. And so that's my 2018. I'm declaring it to everyone, is to create my ultimate relationship. And I appreciate, just so you know what I did yesterday? I bought my wife a ticket to Date with Destiny 2018. Yep. So she's going. She's all in. I'm stoked for it. So we can we can speak a similar language, right? So let's talk about a couple things. Number one is, while we're on this topic, What are you observing with masculine and feminine energy in today's cultural scape, and how is it affecting our youth?
Oh, wow. Well, what I am observing with masculine and feminine energy or polarity, and how it's affecting our youth. I think it's important for me to continue to learn what masculine and feminine energy is and how it manifests itself. I really, until recently, never really opened the hood up on that to take a look at it or to understand the dynamics. What I did know is the role that I've always felt comfortable in is the role of a provider. I'm fortunate that I was able to serve in the United States Army in the infantry. I'm fortunate that I was able to come through that experience with very little, harm done or anything like that. And I'm grateful to have gone through that. And I know in the presence of a lot of masculine energy. And, I just feel comfortable as a provider. I think that for me, it's alignment. What I also know is that I have a lot of feminine energy as well. I think I get having that energy allows me to feel. It allows me to connect more deeply with people of all different types, and it allows me to connect in ways that, when I said deeply, that I connect at the emotional level, and I'm really grateful for that. Really grateful to learn what it feels like to experience that. I wouldn't be the best person to judge on what is happening, what the cause is or the effect is on today's youth. I will say this, and I have an opinion. Remember the guy who was on this live cast tonight who was doing this kind of thing?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Never get divorced. The only problem with absolutely going through incantations about how I'll never fucking get divorced is that I had no idea what it would take. Just a little story. I met my wife in October and I married her in December of the same year. Ooh. I knew her for 6 weeks. Did I have this experience of, yeah, you're the one. I don't know what the fuck I was experiencing, but I do know that we did it. I didn't do it. We did it. And by the way, it first started off as a scam. If we got married, then I would get a little more money from the Army, which I was about to get out of the Army. Desert Storm was about to end. and so we struck a deal. We struck a deal where I could get a little cash money reserve stacked up so we could get an apartment together after I got out of the Army. So the fact of the matter is that I ran into this issue where I said I was never going to get divorced. And I ran into this life energy that said I had to do whatever it took to stay married. And what I learned about that was I had to, provide, and I had to learn how to ask outstanding questions. And then I had to learn how to use my free will in order to act on those questions. When I'm unresourceful, what I've observed in my partner is that she becomes more masculine. When I am being my best and I am resourceful, I've observed in my partner that she is able to be feminine. And that's, kind of the way that we've got it set up right now through some grace. I have no idea why that is, and I'm grateful for it. What I'm getting at by being committed to staying married, then there's a good chance that the family unit has the possibility of creating a lasting legacy on their kids if they have any. And the lasting legacy to the kids is they got to observe the good and the bad, the ugly and the awesome of being in a family that stayed together. And I think that has an effect. I really don't know the answer to how it's affecting today's youth. I know the wussification, if that's the word you want to say.
Wussification? Is that what you said? Wussification?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to make sure.
Wussification, I've heard that term, bandied around, battered around. I think there's something to that. People can't, fall down without some sort of fucking counselor going down there, and
yeah.
I'm over dramatizing for effect. But the bottom line is,
or are you? Let's be honest.
The bottom line is, I will tell you this: I rode a motherfucking bike with no helmet.
I fucking jumped off of dirt hills with no helmet, and I made it somehow. You know what I'm saying? I'm not advising you do that, kids, but I'm just saying, right. I survived.
there's a greater plan in place. I'm not sure I have the keys to the office that's got the blueprints in it. I'll tell you this. I'm going to learn more about masculine and feminine energy. I think it will help me relate to others more effectively. And I'm always interested in learning about that. If you've got some great ideas in this live cast that we're doing about masculine and feminine energies, I'd love to see the comments when I get a chance to go back through this. If you know of a great resource for me so I can learn more, I'd be grateful to benefit from what you've learned. I got a book for you.
Go get the Black Book written by Garrett White. He was one of the first guys when I was 22 that told me what financial freedom was, that your desired lifestyle is paid by your past residual income. What I didn't realize at the time, that his life was in fucking shambles with his marriage, and that a short time later he was cheating on his wife, he was having an affair, and that he was melting down all around, right? Later on, he wrote this book, and it's extraordinary. It happened into my hands shortly after I'd started discovering masculine and feminine energy earlier this year. And then when we went to Date with Destiny, it was like, whoa, it just opened up, right? Like, to be honest with you, I became the baddest ass man of all the women men out there. Like, dude, I could woo the women men, right? Like those fake women that were wrapped around that masculine. I could woo the hell out of them, right? You know who I'm talking about, right? But what I didn't know is I didn't know how to go to my core masculine energy. And I realized that, you know what, the women don't know how to do that. And you know what, the biggest thing that hit me at Date with Destiny was I must be in my masculine energy and be okay when I'm in my feminine energy and own that feminine energy. But I must be the man so that my daughters know how to recognize a man when they get older. Because that's where the challenge is going to be, for at least in my perception as a dad with a 2 and a 5-year-old. When they get there, are they going to be wooed in by the women men or the men women or whatever, right? Or are they going to really understand, you know what, this dude he's legit, he's real, he's a provider, he's going to pay attention to me, he's going to understand me, and he's going to make me feel safe and okay. And women, guess what? It's equal does not mean you have to do it without a man. Yes, you're equal as far as your power with a man, but doesn't mean you have to live life without a man, right? That's the challenge I see with the Culturescape today, is this feminist movement of equality that woman is equal to man means I don't need a man. I believe, and my hallucination is, from my experience, is that a man needs a woman and a woman needs a man. And more important is the masculine energy needs the real feminine energy to create an explosiveness to have that an amazing life. Whether it's by accident or whether it's by choice, it's got to happen in my hallucination.
That's where I'm thought out. I think you're having a great trip with that hallucination. So, and the bottom line is, I appreciate the book tip, and I think it's awesome. One of the things that's great in my life is the opportunity I have to meet and connect with people, and then see them as a trusted reference. And one of the things that I benefit from is it greatly shortens what it would be like if I was trying to go out there and find my own way, or discover a new route up the fucking north face of Kilimanjaro or whatever. I don't need to do that, because I can trust others and shorten the time it takes me to get to good resources. So I appreciate that tip. Thank you, Colton.
Hey, I appreciate you taking the time to appreciate me. That's awesome. So let's shift gears, because in 2018, that's my thing, is I really want to dominate my masculine energy, and I really want to help. My hope, my prayer is that by doing that, it really brings out that feminine energy, the real feminine energy that my wife wants. Because what I've observed is she's got her own journey, her own shit, her own story, her own stuff, right? We all do, true or true. And what women tend to do, in my experience, is they go into protection mode because they don't want to get hurt. And where I have found, and I told you about this earlier, is my energy is so intense that I go to deliver that to her. She goes into protection mode. And so we couldn't fully ignite. And so that's where I realized, okay, well, I got to deliver it with more warmth, more compassion, and not be such a fucking asshole all the time, right? And it's not that I was purposely being an asshole. I was just like, dude, here we go. Let's close the gap. Let's do it. Let's fucking go. And she's like, see what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I get told I'm loud sometimes, because I mean I'm fucking loud. I do get loud, and I have all this energy coming out, and that sometimes it puts us at odds. The good news is that Colton has a recipe for success about what the feminine needs are, and I'm just gonna give one of those things, and that's attention and presence. if there's anything I've learned is that sometimes the best thing I can do is just be there, make an eye contact, smiling, and then occasionally I'll get asked the question, "What's wrong?" You know, and there's nothing wrong. It's just that I'm doing something different, and then those are the great ways to ask questions. You know, when I'm being asked a question, that's a great time to answer the question. It's a great time to ask the question, especially if I have a track record of being able to, you know, not get the results I want from asking a question because somebody is not willing to answer the question. You know, if I'm in a relationship where there's friction, people don't answer the questions. You know, my experience has been in not just marriage, any relationship I have where there's friction, it doesn't matter if I'm the greatest question maker in the world, I won't get an answer. I won't get the answer that will help me. And so I got to change my approach. And many times I've found that changing my approach just simply means, how can I be present right now?
One of the things that I become an expert on is phone call prospecting and one-on-one sales presentation. And one of the keys that I always teach people in my organization and students is make that eye connection with your person when you're face-to-face, when you're at that table. And actually, here's a tip, guys. If you're a salesperson, have the woman between you and the man. If you're selling or buying real estate, it's really the woman making that decision. But make eye contact with them. That's really powerful. And when you're on the phone or in person, listen to them. Don't try to think of your response ahead of time. It's so funny because I use that amazing in my business. And yet, when I'm at home for the longest time, I was thinking on how I could fix my wife, right? Because, and not in a bad way, but that I could see, you know what, here, I can clearly see you want to be happier or want more of this or more of that. Here's how we do it. But what I learned, though, is it's not about fixing her. It's just being present with her. And it's become a muscle I have to exercise, right? That repetition is the mother of all skill that Tony talks about and Jim Rohn talks about, but I've had to exercise that muscle. So let's shift gears. One last question. What's this thing you're doing Monday, this hike, I saw you posted a selfie or something. Tell me about that. I was so interested.
Listen,
you froze, Matt. Where did you go? Oh, there you go. You're back.
I got some sort of thing that popped up. Sorry. I'm so blessed to live in the state of Colorado that allowed me to have access to, you know, all kinds of mountain ranges, stuff like that. But something crazy happened along the way. I fell into this group of people. They're ultra runners, and they run on trails. And I mean, it's like, I don't know what happened, but I fell in with them, and I started doing it too. And the funny thing is about it, if you're in this ultra running community, first of all, it's a very accepting, open, loving community. I'm so grateful that people were there to help me and you know, help me understand the psychology of running for a fucking long time. But we do it on all the terrain. And so we have this really amazing place south of where I live, just outside of Colorado Springs, called the Manitou Incline. It was an old railway cog kind of right at the base of Pikes Peak, which is one of the 14,000-foot peaks we have in the state of Colorado. Anyways, this Manitou Incline, and anybody who wants to see a graphic, hit me up. I can share a graphic with you. But an average ascent percentage is 44%. The average. Some of it is in the 60s. Basically, it's 0.92 miles, just under a mile, with 2,000 feet of elevation gain. 2,000 feet of elevation gain is a lot in less than a mile. If you want to know what it's like to walk up a hill in your neighborhood, just kind of estimate probably a quarter of a mile. How many feet do you go up? It's probably maybe 100 if you live in a hilly area. This is 2,000 feet. So about 4 years ago, this ultra running group decided that they were going to do it on New Year's Day. We've been doing it for 4 years. I go out 5:30 in the morning. I watch the sunrise as I'm on this Manitou Incline to kick off every first day of the year that I've been able to do this for the last 4 years. We're going Monday morning. If you're in the Colorado area, hit me up. I will absolutely take you down there, host you, and we will climb this fucking Manitou Incline at the break of dawn, bringing it in right the way you should. Health, exercise, happiness, just the feeling of exhilaration as you go from 6,500 feet to 8,500 feet in elevation. And then we'll go down Bar Trail, 2.7 miles, take about an hour to go down, and depending on how fast you are, maybe you can go up in an hour. I'm going to be going up in about an hour and 15 minutes, and that'll be exertion for me with my present state. The record is a little less than 18 minutes, I believe. And it's
Wow.
literally, watch me right now. Okay. This is what it is literally.
And you're going to run
It's
up
not,
it.
it's not this. It's this.
You know, Matt, I haven't ran except for twice in my life. When late teenager years when I was running from the police, I did that. And then when I had my heart broken when I was 23 years old, that was the only thing that numbed me was running, right? It's so, man, that is extraordinary that you're actually choosing to run uphill that far. So I'm excited to see some pictures. Love to hear the
Oh
results
yeah.
from it. That's super awesome. Matt, appreciate you being here tonight. I'm going to let you go. Any final words you want to say to these guys before we cut you loose to our live or our replayers?
Yeah, I do have just a couple parting words. First of all, thank you, Colton. I know that you are an amazing person, and I know that you've got so much to give. And just to be here with the people that you've connected with in the past, it means so much to me. I'm very grateful for this opportunity to connect with you. I look forward to helping out any way I can. Anything that I can do to help you or any of your fans be successful, I'm totally in. I'd love to know what those things are to help. The second thing is that, every time I have an opportunity to tell my story, I learn a little bit more about how grateful I am to be here, to be with you right now, and to be alive. I'm honestly grateful. I know that the key for me is I'm not done. I've got a purpose to impact others. And so I'm grateful for the opportunity to feel what that feels like through the medium that you've created. And I'm also just happy to know that we wrapped this thing up. And I'm kind of up there. I'm kind of like, I've watched a lot of these and, I made it past the hour mark, which isn't
I have.
unusual. Colton is pretty awesome, but I'm actually an hour and almost 22 minutes. I feel pretty good about that. For my first time ever, I might even
Yeah.
consider this to have been outstanding. Thank you, Colton. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome, man. Appreciate you being here. Hang on, guys. I'm going to wrap up with some recaps from the meeting. Matt, thank you. Have a great evening. We'll talk to you soon. See you, Matt.
See ya.
All right, guys. There we have it. Matt Bell, amazing individual that I met. I'm a friend now. One of the cool things about him is he went from $30,000 a year to $3 million working for a company. Okay, this wasn't his own business that he generated, which is really actually quite amazing in itself. But the fact that he did it to where a company, people believed in him so much and the value he created, said, hey, we're going to compensate you, whether it's through salary, bonuses, through stocks, whatever. He was compensated $3 million. That is amazing. And here's how you can make it happen. Is number one is it's not always about the money. Money is really cool. Yes or yes, we want to make a lot of money. Put a yes in the comments if you're down with that. However, what is our purpose that drives us behind that? And here's what I took away from that is number one is ask outstanding questions. Outstanding questions will make your body shake in such a way that it's going to stimulate your mind to see things just a little bit differently. And not only ask yourself outstanding questions, ask other people outstanding questions. Know the result in mind. What's the outcome that you want to create? Why is it important? What's the purpose behind it? What is it going to do for you? What is it going to do for other people? And then identify the actionable items that close the gap to make that happen. Share a lot of gratitude. I don't know if you guys picked that up from Matt, whether you guys watch this live or in the replay. He is going to a home space, and he didn't always be here. He had to create the habit. He had to create the repetition to go to a home space of gratitude. When you're in a place of appreciation, anything becomes possible. Tony Robbins talks about this all the time. Trade your expectations for appreciation and watch your whole life change. And then also, I think what's really cool about that whole thing is everything that might have happened in your past, whether you blamed your parents or you had a car wreck or you had your heart broken or you made a mistake financially or you made a mistake in your relationship or your health or whatever, those were there to serve you. That was grace teeing you up to learn something. So be obsessed with learning is what I took away from Matt, and observing to how is this serving me? What can I learn from this experience? Whether it's an amazing experience or what might appear to be a terrible experience, what can I learn from that, and what can I shift in my life? A couple of things that I also learned is connect with people. Do it through eyesight. Matt has an amazing, captivating smile.
Practice on smiling. One of the things that I've done for the longest time, and I appreciate you all that have complimented my smile, is I actually for a while would walk around with a pen in my mouth so that my mouth would naturally start to go that way, because I understood that my body would chemically shift when I created the smile. In fact, he's taken the smile so far and so powerful that he does this coconut oil pulling technique that he literally puts it into his mouth every single morning as part of his morning ritual, mixed with gratitude and bulletproof coffee. All right, guys, those are just some of the key points that we talked about today. If you are not already a part of my free private Facebook group, the WGR Academy, I posted the link. I'll post it in the comments again here in a second. Absolutely free. And for those of you guys that are real estate agents, we're launching a free, yes, you heard me, free 28-day prospecting mastery program. Why? Because I understand what's driven my business over the last 13 years, whether it's been my real estate sales business or my online business, my coaching training programs, it was generating customers. And that only stemmed from setting appointments. So I want to help you get into action. So feel free to join the WGR Academy, absolutely free Facebook group. It is limited up to 1,000 people. I think we've got just under 800 people, so you're going to want to get in there quickly. But we're going to be launching details here in the next couple of days of how you reserve your spot to be in the 28-day prospecting mastery program. If any of you guys are real estate agents and you really want to learn how to grow your business to the next level, go to fearlessagent.com. And if you want to master your finances, you want to make confident financial decisions and create the financial freedom and the inner world freedom, join the Financial Freedom Nation Accelerated program. Let me know how else I can help you guys. Please like, comment, and share. Anyone that shares this stream, I'm going to say an amazing prayer for you tonight, and I'm going to deliver more value for you over and over again. And remember to drop an L in the comments if you watched it live, or an R if you dropped or you watched the recording. See you guys. Thanks for being here. Have a great evening.